Are the 49ers true Super Bowl contenders in the NFC? To you.
No.
Has the San Francisco 49ers championship window slammed shut? I had to have 49er fans' favorite content creator on the show today to discuss it. If you guys want to check out Joe's stuff after the episode, he posts videos about the 49ers very often. The links to his stuff will be in the description below. You guys can go check it out. We covered the entire 49ers outlook when it comes to can they win a championship this year, next year, going forward. We broke down their cap scenario. We broke down all the players that need contracts. We talked about what's going on with Shanahan. Is his seat warming up a little bit as the coach of the 49ers? Is the 49ers championship window still open? We got answers for you by the end of today's video. And as Brock Purdy would like to be doing to Christian McCaffrey, I'm going to hand the mic over to a different version of Mike now. That was the window shutting, Joe. The 49ers championship window, in my opinion, shut the second that Brandon Ayuk went down with an injury. But we're going to go into depth what you think about the 49ers because you're a giant 49ers fan, right?
Yeah, everybody knows that I only think about the 49ers every day.
Hey, sorry for interrupting myself, but one quick reminder before you forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you can be here every single time I post. It's the free way you guys can support the channel. We're trying to build something special here very early on in the stages here. We only have 10,000 subscribers. We're trying to get 20,000 subscribers. The only way that's possible is if you guys support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, turn on notifications. You do think about them a lot. That's true. It's kind of like the same thing with the Raiders fans. They say that the Raiders live rent-free in my head or whatever. Do the 49ers live rent-free in your head?
Well, it's funny because if you're an NFL fan, every team should live rent-free in your head. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'll talk about the Niners. You know, everybody knows that I'm a Raider fan. Everybody knows you're a Charger fan. But the Niner fans are so sensitive, Mike, that they think that you can only think about one team. Like, you can't be an NFL fan. You can't watch anybody else but your team. And if you talk about my team, then you're on our nuts. Like, get out of here. Just because you don't show up till halfway through the season and then leave when your team's losing doesn't mean that everybody else has to be like you. You know what I mean?
Well, I get a lot of the same sentiment from the Vegas fans, but what I usually tell them is they're completely right. I do make a lot of videos about the Raiders because Raiders fans like to comment on the videos. And it kind of just puts them in a spot where they're the commenter that's commenting and fueling the next video, and they don't know what to say.
And that's the thing. Like, as long as Niner fans keep interacting, I'm going to keep making the videos.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and as long as the Niners are having one of the worser seasons or more disappointing seasons out of all the teams in the league, you're definitely going to be talking about the Niners. I mean, what do you expect? They're in the news cycle. You expect to be dodging them and avoiding talking about them?
I'm supposed to be making fun of the Niners, but my team sucks just as bad as them. So it's like that old Spider-Man meme where you're just pointing at each other. It's like.
But anyways, we're diehard fans of football, diehard fans of our teams, but we're fans that like to use small amounts of logic at least, and I hope that people listening into this can enjoy those small amounts of logic, like our conversation today. I'm going to ask you to be somewhat logical, to put your 49ers hate to the side, to actually talk about how bad a situation they're in or not. Maybe I'm overreacting here because they're 19th in cap space going into next season right now. I have it down that they have around $36 million in cap. Even if we're generous on that number, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Even if we're generous on that $36 million in cap to spend, let's say they have $40 million to spend next year. Talking about Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Jonathan Hargrave, Trent, like the list goes on of how many players need some kind of work on their contract or a new contract entirely. And I'm just doing some math, and it just isn't quite adding up. I don't think Brock Purdy's taking some kind of massive pay cut. Like, do you think that it's come to a point where the 49ers are just going to have to rip off a Band-Aid here and let a bunch of players go this offseason?
Yeah, this is going to have – I mean, when you had your little window. Every team does it when they get a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback that's on a rookie deal, and you have your little window before you have to pay him, because we've seen it. Once you start paying a top quarterback, you have to make cuts everywhere else, and the Niners are going to have to do that. And we've already looking at, you're looking at their cap for next year, where they're sitting at what, 55 million, which you would think like, oh, 55 million is a lot. Well, the top team next year already has what, 132 million in cap space, so you're in the middle of the pack. And then when quarterbacks are going for $60 million a season,
there it is.
You're done. Like and you're paying top receivers. You're paying. There's so much across the board that you're already paying. It's ridiculous, but it's interesting. Like, you can go through and you can see, but yeah, there's some big names that are going to have to leave this team.
Mm-hmm. The only way that their championship window isn't shut, in my opinion, is if some of these guys take pay cuts. And I don't know who's going to take a pay cut. Like, will Brock Purdy take a substantial pay cut? How much is a substantial pay cut for a quarterback? If Brock Purdy takes a $50 million per year deal, he just took a extremely friendly deal, a team-friendly deal. He's not taking 40. It's not possible. And that's why I've seen 49ers fans commenting, like, Brock will take a pay cut. He's that kind of guy. They said Joe Burrow was that kind of guy. They said Justin Herbert was that kind of guy. Josh Allen was that kind of guy. All these guys were that kind of guy. Yeah, they took team-friendly deals when they gave them an extra $5 million. They did not take these extreme pay cuts that 49ers fans are calling for, and what it would take for Brock Purdy to save George Kittle, Fred Warner, Jonathan Hargrave, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, Dre Greenlaw, and the list goes on. That's the pay cut it's going to take. Now, will George Kittle take a pay cut? I need him being a guy to take the pay cut.
Yeah, George Kittle and how much he has left is I could see him taking the pay cut, because he seems like a team kind of guy.
But, like, how much further does it go from Fred Warner? Like, Jonathan Hargrave's not taking no pay cuts, I don't think, for this team. I don't think Trent Williams is taking a dime off his deal.
No, I think Hargrave I think he's one that's gone. And Trent Williams, I think he's going to retire. I really think that he's done. And you already know he's not taking a pay cut, because look what he did this season. He was like, I'm holding out. I want more money. He ended up coming back, but it's like, everybody wants more money. Everybody wants that money at the end of the career. We understand that. But come on, like, when you know that your team has nothing and you're paying, you got to pay. Like, this is, I mean, I guess this is a good thing for the Niners that all your players turned out to be good. But now when it's time to pay them, that's the unfortunate spot about the NFL, is like, now your championship window is not looking so good.
Well, I think that they've backed themselves into a corner with the quarterback position. In a way, it's worked out. You've been able to keep this team together because of the discount you're taking there. But now that discount is about to fall on top of itself, because now your quarterback has these numbers that would justify him being paid with the best in the league, but he's the best of the league because all these guys that need to get paid now. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword for the 49ers. Like Deebo Samuel, I think he's gone. I don't know how you're going to be able to hold on to that contract at least for 2 more years. If they can get him to take a pay cut, maybe. But he seems like a guy that's saying, give me my money. Give me my money now. I'll play for the Carolina Panthers, whoever, if that's what it takes. Same thing with a guy like Tre'Davious Ward. Dre Greenlaw hasn't gotten paid yet. He has to go and hit the market. He has pretty much no damn choice business-wise but to go get paid. I mean, like I said, the math isn't quite mathing, and it's a similar situation that the Chargers faced last offseason, 49er fans. And even as a Chargers fan, I was sitting there hoping and praying, but I knew that Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, those 4 guys were up. And if those 4 guys didn't take pay cuts, those 4 guys were probably gone. And sure enough, the 2 that weren't willing to take a pay cut, they're gone. So just buckle your guys' seatbelts a little bit. Get ready for some turmoil and some turnaround.
Well, you already seen it. Like you've already seen it with CMC not playing this year. Like, you're like, hey, he meant a lot to this team, and now with all the injuries that are happening, and it's a good thing. Injuries are never a good thing, so don't take me wrong on that one. It's a good thing that they get to see what Brock Purdy is without some of these weapons, I guess, before they pay him. And they got to see, like, hey, maybe he's good to an extent. So it's good that the Niners get to see what Brock Purdy was without some of these weapons before they paid him. So that's like, because you never know. You didn't want to get the next season and some of these weapons are gone, and then Brock Purdy is straight trash. You know what I mean? He's Daniel Jones all over again. So it's good. You get that. You could take that positive from this season for the 49ers, but you also can't take that loss. Like it's a whole different thing. Mike, Fred Warner is like $29 million.
Yeah, it's he has to redo his whole deal pretty much. It'll help them a little bit to redo his deal for the first year, but they have to look forward and keeping a really good defense on the field, paying one player $25+ million per year. It's going to be very hard when that's not TJ Watt or Myles Garrett, like this insane dominant edge rusher that literally wrecks games by himself. This is something that I will probably be lowered into the grave, still yelling at 49ers fans, and I believe this to my core, and that is that Kyle Shanahan's overconfidence to coach up and make it work at the quarterback position has cost the San Francisco 49ers multiple Super Bowls in this era of time. From the first Super Bowl they made with Jimmy Garoppolo to today, the 49ers should have won more than one Super Bowl, 2 or more. But Shanahan has tried and tried to make Jimmy G work, and he tried too long on that. And he thought that he was the genius that was going to trade up for the next Patrick Mahomes out of the draft. Spends 3 first-round picks, more on Trey Lance than it took for the Rams to go and get Matthew Stafford, who won a Super Bowl almost immediately upon joining that team. Shanahan makes that move instead of overpaying for Stafford to keep him away from LA, which it's almost confirmed that the 49ers were also trying to get Stafford at that point in time. And then into the next phase here with Brock Purdy, where he's coached up Brock Purdy to a level that's good enough to get this team into contention, but not quite good enough to lock in that win versus Patrick Mahomes at the end of it all. And it's going to come down to it again, where you're going to need your quarterback to elevate and take you to the next level at some point in the postseason. And yes, Brock Purdy has shown the ability to do that. He may finally come through and win the 49ers a Super Bowl. But if they just had Stafford this whole time, the 49ers win 2 Super Bowls in the last 10 years. I'm very confident in that. In the last 7 years, they win 2 Super Bowls. I will die thinking that was the big mistake. And that brings me all the way full circle to this with Shanahan's decisions at quarterback. With the offense struggling a bit more now that CMC's out this year, how do the 49ers improve after this season with the state of the roster and the cap space? Like, should Kyle Shanahan's seat be hot right now, Joe?
No, I don't think Kyle Shanahan. I know a lot of Niner fans are upset with him, and Kyle Shanahan has an issue of out-coaching. Like, that's one of our like, if you're a Niner hater or Niner troll, like, that's one of the things you always throw at him around postseason times, right? Is Shanahan, your coach is Kyle Shanahan, and he's going to find a way to out-coach himself. It's not that I don't think there's a lot of coaches in the league that are on Shanahan's level. Like, he's a very smart guy, always ahead of the curve. He just does some things, and he goes either conservative or he just out-coaches himself. He thinks like, they're going to shut down my run, so I should go pass. Like, no, just do what gets you there, Kyle Shanahan. Do what you got to do. And I don't think he's on the hot seat, even though because, look, he's kind of like in the Mike Tomlin situation, right? Where you're winning games, you're just not winning the big game. You're just not winning when it matters. Like, and that's what a lot of NFL fans get upset about, because like, oh yeah, we're good regular season, but when it comes to postseason, we never get it done. Well, just be glad you're in the damn postseason, because there's some teams like me that we're waiting 20 damn years to even see a playoff game. Like, we want to win a playoff game. Like, we'd be happy with one playoff game, and these guys are upset. So Kyle Shanahan's one of the top coaches in the league, and if you think the Niners have to move on for him, and you're a Niner fan hoping to move on from Kyle Shanahan, think about Jim Tasula and Chip Kelly and those coaches before you start thinking about getting rid of Kyle Shanahan, because sometimes, like, you can ask Devontae Adams, the grass ain't greener somewhere else.
That's true. And I'm actually with you on this. I did that whole entire lead up basically hinting that I would be saying let's fire Kyle Shanahan, but I think that this talk is ridiculous too. You went to the Super Bowl last year. You've been to multiple NFC championship games. You've been in contention for the Super Bowl. year after year after year with Kyle Shanahan. And there's been times where the teams have been injured and he's held it together enough to keep them afloat until injuries are healed and guys come back in the past. I think he's shown his ability as a coach, being the highest in the league. And everyone keeps saying, like, but he chokes in the playoffs or he can't win the big game. I have a news flash for the entire league, and we do this with quarterbacks a lot too. We're like, oh, Justin Herbert's choke artist, or hey, this guy sucks because he can't win in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson can't win in the playoffs. No one can, guys. Only one team is winning right now. No one can win right now. It's not like you're saying let's go from Shanahan to someone who is beating Patrick Mahomes. No one's beating Patrick Mahomes right now. No one's beating Andy Reid right now. I don't think it's a matter of coaching for the 49ers. I think it's a matter of luck. And like you said, it is coaching in a sense when they get to that moment. Don't shy away from being aggressive in that moment. I mean, it's what got you there. And personally, I feel like they had some play calls late in that game in the Super Bowl that were aggressive, and Brock Purdy missed. And it happens that way sometimes. Jimmy Garoppolo missed on that down the field third and short pass that they could have just tried to run the ball and continue running the clock. It just happens. This is the NFL. I think 49ers fans are being ridiculous with some of this fire Shanahan talk, because I think that you should give him full confidence to even rebuild from scratch if that's where we're going.
Yeah. And you get, his system always works. He's good. And hey, Robert Saleh's out there. You bring him back. You help your defense out again.
Yeah, I think that's the key too. I think that's what's really. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys later on in the week and some videos that are going to drop. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, guys. Make sure you guys like the video for some Cowboys talk. I think on the coordinator side of things, that's more where things need to be focused, both in San Francisco and Dallas. That when those things have been strong for both teams, the teams have been good. So maybe that's the focus that they should be focused on improving. Okay, so Joe, right now, this season, for the rest of the season, are the 49ers true Super Bowl contenders in the NFC to you?
No.
No.
I think too many injuries, too many things have hit the Niners that it's just one of those years that you can't get anything going correctly.
I personally think that because the NFC is so wide open, only one team has really separated themselves as the top dog, which is the Detroit Lions, in my opinion. Crazy that I'm alive to even say that. I think that the 49ers are still Super Bowl contenders. So I do think they can get healthy. And when they do get healthy, they just go back to being the team that they've been over the last couple of years. But do I think next year they will be Super Bowl contenders? No. I think this is it, Joe. And I think that they should be very aggressive at the trade deadline. I think they should be going after Adam Thielen, or they should be going after any receivers that become available. They should be going after any corners that become available, because I think that next year the 49ers will not be NFC West contenders. And that might be a crazy thing to say, but let's come back to this in a full calendar year. Let's see how many players get traded this offseason. I think there's going to be some big names moved. Like you said, Trent Williams could retire. It's going to be a very young team with 5 to 10 different players in starting positions next season, maybe on both sides of the ball, honestly. So I do think that this is their last chance. If they can get healthy, they can get things right, this team can go back to what it can be if Christian McCaffrey can get out there and ball out the way we know Christian McCaffrey too. But next year, I think it's done. I think the championship window is officially shut, Joe.
Oh yeah, and you've seen it where that division is already getting better, and you don't let Sean McVay retool, and you've been letting them do that while you're struggling. So come on.
Yeah, and you look over at what Washington's doing in the NFC. Chicago's super young. I think they're going to get better going into next year, no matter what happens with their coaching staff. Green Bay, Minnesota, Arizona, even you can throw them out there right now and how they're playing. Like, these teams are young and they're playing really well right now. Next year, it's going to be even harder for San Francisco.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, like
so.
We've always talked about the NFC being the weaker division or weaker conference, and that you can get in with 8 wins. But now, like you said, the young quarterbacks are over there. It's the rebuilding one. They have good offensive coordinators. They have good teams over there. Detroit's set up for the next 4 or 5 years. Like they're set up, ready to go. It's only getting tougher for San Francisco as your window closes.
Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is the 49ers window shut? And then help us out by sharing this video with more 49er fans. Once again, like I said in the intro, if you guys want to check out Joe Morley's stuff, the links will be in the description below. Anything you want to specifically shout out, Joe, towards the 49ers fans while they're tuned into this? Because I'm sure it's mostly 49ers fans at this point, 20 minutes into the conversation.
No, I don't have anything for 49er fans because they're probably they're probably not even paying attention. Their team's not winning. They're not showing up no more. They're done.
I just figured, you might have at least a little something. Thank you for tuning in to another NFL Mike video. Now it's time to go make more football friends or go and compete in the Mike's Pickems Challenge or against me in daily fantasy football challenges by joining my completely free NFL group chat. Or head to fifthdown.shop and check out and see if we got your team's newest designs. Or now you can simply rep your favorite players without having to wear another team's gear. And then tag us in pictures of you wearing your Fifth Down merch for a shout out in the next episode of NFL Mike's Corner. And help us reach our goal of getting 1,000 NFL fans wearing Fifth Down. Or you can head to the next NFL Mike video by clicking it. It's on your screen. Go ahead.